Welcome to the first episode of RPM Talks. And we've got with us Mr. Omkar Rane, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who has single handedly decided to, completely change the game for motorsports in India. And today we are here at his workshop, DNA Motorsports, to hear it from him on what he's been up to. So let's start with where did it all begin? Where was it that you found your love for cars? Was it you from your childhood? Was it some instance? Was it some person who got you into cars? Let's hear it from you, Omkar.
So I think for me, I've always been fond of cars. That's something which um from the earliest memory I have for the toys I had or the things I always wanted, it was always somehow related to cars. And this kind of liking, even if you were to ever ask my schoolmates or anyone, they will always tell you that he has always been designing cars or drawing cars or doing some of the other things related to cars. And so I think they were always an integral part of me. But the whole dynamics changed when I wanted to put it as a career option. So, till 10th probably, I was under the misconception that if I wanted to build cars, designing cars is the only way. Okay, so I didn't even know that what went into the engineering of cars or what went into this thing. And I was always design focused. Like till 10, I always wanted to draw, design beautiful cars, look at beautiful cars. So very design oriented mind, how the car looks kind of a thing. Because I was from a government school, SSC board. So never really had a fond inclination towards mechanical systems or never had the exposure of what engineering was or, everything. And we're talking about in the 90s, so or the early 2000s. And there wasn't any exposure at all. I mean, there was an internet that time. Internet came quite late. So uh, didn't know any. Always knew that loved cars, wanted to do something in cars, but didn't really know what exactly I was going to do in cars. And the first misconception was that drawing cars or sketching cars is the way I'm going to be able to build cars. But then, so what happened was, as usual, I finished my 10th standard, and while I was in 11th, 12th, uh, I happened to I wanted a bike at that time, and obviously we didn't really, it wasn't really an environment where my father would buy me a brand new bike. Or and that time the Pulsar was at the peak, because it looked sick. It had that LED lights and stuff like that. And so I somehow went to my dad saying that I want a bike, I need it for traveling, this, that, and all of that. So the best he could do and he gave me was my grandfather's Royal Enfield. Okay. And me, like I told you, I didn't know much technically about cars or bikes as such. He sold me the bike saying that, all these Pulsar and all are all 150cc, but this one is 350cc. Big engine.
No replacement for displacement.
Yeah, because it's not a big engine. It's gonna make more power. It's the real stuff what you need to have. 150cc and all are slow. And I always had this in my mind, right? Shit, big engine, big power. Oh, definitely is fast. Like definitely, there's no doubt is what. Till once so happened that how I used to go for in the night. I used to go for a small rides in and around. And usually I was just doing a night cruise on the highway till a guy with a new Pulsar came next to me, and I decided to just try and see how fast the bike went and kind of just do a small drag with it. And I was very confident I'm gonna win, and that's the whole point I initiated that race. But then I realized that 150 just pulled away kind of a while. And I was pinned down to the throttle, but nothing really was happening. And at first my reaction was that, boss, something is wrong in the bike. It's not making power or something like that. And so next day I went to my local mechanic was just right next to my house, asking him, that I think there's something wrong in the bike. it's not fast, it's not going. So he said, okay, let me check. He went for a ride, he did everything, checked everything. He's like, bike is absolutely perfect. There's nothing wrong. He's like, it's not possible. There's a 350cc big engine. I got yesterday beaten by Pulsar 150. And he was like, that's going to happen. I mean, that's a lighter bike. The engine's much different. It's lighter. Then I started understanding that, like there is a lot more in terms of the engineering and the technology which goes behind, which actually is responsible for making it move or how it feels. And so I decided that this is where I'm going to work. Where I told that Hussein, who's that mechanic's name, I told Hussein bhai that I'll work with you. I'll just do all this time pass. And in return, you work on my bike, make it fast. I'll get some parts. You try to fit them for me and make my bike fast. And so with him, I would say my journey began where my first introduction to proper mechanical work or proper technical work was working on British bikes. That included, as I said, Royal Enfield, BSA. These are all old companies, like really old companies. But how old were you in this time? Up 16, 17 years old. I would say, yeah. So BSA, Matchless, Norton. And these had different variation. These bikes also, some of them were race bikes, some of them were cruisers. So quite a lot of variation, understood a lot of things. And I think that's where the love for performance started. The love for mechanical systems started. And that one led to the other. And that's where I decided that I wanted to learn and everything about cars. This is what I want to do, like engineering and able to build a car. And so, even when I started my education journey, the goal was very simple. Like, how today people and students have both saying that, mujhe bachelor's karna hai, mujhe master's karna hai, then I want to get a job. I never had anything like that. My aim was pretty much set that by the time I start studying and by the time I end studying, like my formal education, what is you never really stop learning. I should be able to build myself a full car. As simple as that. So till I did not know how to build myself a car, I kept learning. I either did my bachelor's from the UK, then I went for motorsport technology in Australia, and kept evolving, kept learning, kept meeting new people, understanding what the differences were, what was missing in our country, and always kept learning. And till a point, I would say 5 years back when I came to India, I thought that I was ready to start a facility. And that's how I started this. And even before starting D&O, I would say my first small ventures, what I used to do is when I was in college, and I used to come back for my breaks I used to make exhaust systems. So I used to take my friends' cars and tell them that I'll make exhaust system, make it sound good and everything. And I would eventually just take the car to this place in South Bombay called Mark Performance Exhaust. Really good people as craftsmen, really make good stuff. So they used to generally execute all this stuff for me, where the technical brains were me and they used to do the fabrication and everything in around. And started off with one exhaust, two, made headers, made from small 4 cylinders to V8s to V10s, everything. And then when the confidence came, when people saw that, that couple of work was going out, then I decided to start this place to expand more on what knowledge I have. And we are continually expanding, where today, after 5 years, we built complete vehicles from, I would say, performance-specific vehicles or purpose-built vehicles for various applications. And I would say that 60 to 70% of our major components are all designed in-house by engineers, and that's how we create our systems as of now. So this has been my journey as of now till now, with the entire way as to how I started my passion, and now how I'm living it through, and still a much more longer way to go, because I haven't yet built my car what I wanted to build. It's yet in process.
Yeah, it's always the next one. So now that we are at the workshop, the motorsports and various applications of engineering on different cars, why don't we go into a little more depth about what happens at DNO? You know, what kind of cars you work on, what kind of projects do you take up? Why don't we go into?
So at DNO, we mainly have young engineers from various backgrounds. Some of them are mechanical engineers, some of them are electronics, some of them are from management. So, but all of them have one common thing, which is the burning passion and ability to put in efforts and pull out results, which is most important. So these essentially, with all of these, with this team, we build everything from industrial projects to motorsport to automotive. So in industrial projects, we have worked with the government of India building a couple of airboats for them, prototyping them. For motorsport, we build drift cars. We are now have another interesting project coming up where we will be building India's first touring slash racing car kind of a vibe. And these all bit we plan to manufacture in-house. And you understand it's a gradual process because there is a lot of learnings we need to understand and develop within ourselves in order to get it out. Like, just to give you a small example, you will see most of the international workshops or anything which is a professional race environment, they're all super clean. Being super clean is not that there are 3 people coming and cleaning the place. It's mindset. I can have 5 people cleaning this particular area every day. It's never going to solve the cleanliness issue because at the end of the day, it boils down from the engineer and from the person himself. We try to inculcate this and we try to apply this and adapt it to ourselves so that having a clean workshop is a byproduct of our good working. Similarly, how a top chef has a clean environment versus to a person who is not professional or who is not new to this environment. You'll have a dirty space. Like if you and me cook, you know how it would be. So that's at the end, we teach everything in terms of hands-on, in terms of what are the skill set required. We develop this skill set for engineers to become industry ready. And also we show them that what kind of market India has and is going to develop into. So as of now, we are doing a lot of street builds where you can say that we are building, every person has a dream car to build. So we help owners get those dream builds built. Like for example, my dream, I would say the best M car for me would be a E36 or a E30 chassis with the S60, the S85, the V10, B50. So that for me with a manual gearbox would be the best M car. Like you have the V10, you have that noise, you have that setup, you have the handling of the E36, which is essentially a race chassis. How do I get this into reality? So we do that. We get that into reality where we work with owners. We understand what they want. Probably sometime they want to build something, but it's too much of a far-fetched idea than a ground reality as an everyday usable product. So we essentially guide them and we build these cars with them. And it's kind of a journey, where as more and more cars get built, more and more people get confident, more and more things will get built. And that's what we are growing. We are focusing on, and all the builds what we do, we focus on a lot on reliability. You can essentially say that they are a bit over-engineered so that we have the longevity and the reliability which we have been craving for, or where people say that, Indian products don't last that long. So we want to address those first. Then comes the comfort, drivability, how people want in terms of that. So we work on individual aspects. We have engineers trained in individual aspects. And yes, slowly we plan to build more and more cars and get more and more of these projects out and put more and more engineers onto these jobs.
Lovely. So reliable power. And let's say I am a owner. Let's say I were to give you my car and say make it fast. Isko bas fast kar do. What's the process like? How do you go about it?
It's not as easy as that, like where yeah. You can think about it like uh, it's like going to a normal off the shelf suit, or going to a tailor and getting yourself stitched a suit. Bespoke. In bespoke, we show a lot of different material, different options, what you can achieve, everything. So generally, we have a consultation, like we consult the owner, we have a chat, we discuss with him. It's mostly sort of like a friendly banter, where we understand what he wants. Like what is his real requirement. Going fast, theek hai, but how fast? That's the question. How much you want to use it? What kind of reliability you want? What is the goal with the vehicle? Like, today you can go and buy any car you want with that money. Why you choose to build is because you specifically want something out of the way. What is that something? Fast car, so there are a lot of fast cars. It's because you want to build something, because you want a specific kind of fast. So, we discuss that, we speak to the owner, give them the option, and then they select as to how it would be and how it's going to be.
So after this process is done, like how do you source parts? Do you have team who can because there's nobody really doing this in India, and why aren't other people doing it? There must be certain reasons that you've been able to do it so well, and how do you go about the process then?
I think the one thing what you could say that we do is we collaborate a lot. So we are officially tied up with KS Motorsport and Mr. Taran Shah. So he is our main person in terms of our automotive logistics, getting us parts, getting us all of the components, everything related to that. Karan does that. So for every project or every bit what we build, we have certain companies who we know are good at things, who we collaborate with. Be it for suspension, it's something else. Be it for our manufacturing, it's something else. So we want to develop this industry with keeping masters of their individual skill in mind, rather than saying that I do everything by myself.
Sweet. So let's just zoom out a bit. Let's go up for our new car enthusiast, and why don't you tell everyone what is motorsports really? What is tuning? What is racing? What do you think about events happening in India like Valley Run? What do you think about motorsports?
So I think to answer this question only, a year back, me and my co-founder Shubham Sangodkar, who is a Formula One aerodynamist, we started something called the United Motorsports Academy. It's Asia's first technical motorsport academy. This academy essentially gives answers and access to students at a very affordable point in motorsport. The whole point is that in today's date, learning high-level motorsport shouldn't be a 50 lakh rupees affair. It has to be something which is accessible. So we, through this academy, provide internships, online tuitions, online courses. Like we had something, just in February, we had something called as Motorsport Month, which essentially was one entire month of motorsport training online at your comfort. So it happens Saturday and Sunday, where we get an international professor from various fields, and you can interact with them. You can ask them your doubts, and they teach you certain form of new technologies, new things which are working in the international world. So I would say that the reason we created this platform is because next 15 to 20 years in India is going to be big in motorsport. We are going to have every possible thing coming up, because I personally feel it is one of the repressed sports of our country because of the lack of technical access and the huge upfront costs being the second most important thing. So through the academy and through the ENDO, we plan to create this ecosystem where through the academy we teach, and through the ENDO we implement that. And motorsport for all the young generation, I would say that it's an entire industry which is coming up. You might think that it's only super technical. Technical is one bit. You require people from mechanical, automotive, that's fine. You require people from electrical, electronics, AI, data science, media, communications, logistics, supply chain, you name it and we need it.
The whole ecosystem.
See, now also if you notice, we have a lot of motorsport events which happen, okay, in our country. But there are certain things which it lacks. Maybe the way it is organized, or maybe certain bits. Enthusiasm is there, things are there. It's because these elements or these people handling this do not yet exist. But if people start focusing on this and making it their full-time bit, which is going to happen in the upcoming years, you will start seeing best of the best thing. You will have people who are only doing motorsport events. You will have people like Elite Octane for that matter. Past 10 years, they've been killing it with Valley Run, and they have given a source for new talent to come. Not only just drivers, but engineers, tuners, people who are experimenting on vehicles. Everything comes over there. So as it grows, it's going to become bigger and bigger. And for the new generation and the new motorsport enthusiasts, I would say that look within your skill set, because every skill set is going to be needed for motorsports.
Also, so, there's a lot of things to do in Doppler, but let's just zoom into tuning a little bit, Let's say, what I know for tuning is there's a guy who does something with his laptop with the car, and the car just produces more power.
Right.
How does that work? Is there just the software made, or do you add more parts to it? What is tuning?
So, in a very simple way, let's just say that I designed a particular car. It's very evident that this car which I have built is going to be a common general massy car. Now, this car makes, from my testing and everything, I have seen that the maximum horsepower this car makes is around 250 horsepower. I've checked everything. But I also know that at 250 horsepower, this car, the entire components, everything will last down for 5 years or 6 years. Plus, I realized that by showcasing so much power, and emissions are getting higher, and I'm getting charged also more by the government because the emissions are that high. So what I decided is, it makes 250 horsepower, but I'll put a good 180 horsepower. I'll detune it, add all the safety features so that all components will run at least for 10 years without stress in worst to worst conditions. Even if the car runs with no oil, or fuel is bad, or temperature shoots up, or some or the other, I know that it will not have a major damage. So for me, I think 180 horsepower is best. And on top of that, the government is also very happy because emission is less for 180 horsepower. I'm saving money, everybody's happy. Who's not happy in this is the person chasing for performance, chasing for numbers, chasing for that power. People generally don't think about all of these back-end things. People need power. This opens up another industry where if I've sold that car to you and you want power, what you're essentially going to do is you're going to go to someone who first has a tool which can access the brains of the work of the car. What horsepower is it making? Then basically what you do is you just from 180, if I put 10 restrictions that don't do this, don't do that, which are not related, it's not going to damage the engine. Understand what I mean? It's just restriction owing to all the rest of the things I told you. Consumption, fuel consumption, longevity, everything in terms of that. Overall heat in the engine created, everything. What I do is I communicate with this module, which essentially I remove all of these parameters, which were essentially blocking them. Now I'm making 200 horsepower. If I remove a bit more parameters, I'll make 250 horsepower. So you're making power. This is exactly what tuning is. In terms of, you essentially have a device, which is a communication device, which communicates with your vehicle or your ECM through a series of language and ports. And you essentially alter fuel maps, ignition maps, and other parameters depending upon what are there to give you that certain power range. That's about it. That's how tuning is going to be. In stage 1, the parameters which they reduce are less. In stage 2, it is even less. Stage 3, it's unrestricted. Then then they go for a standalone ECU, which gives you the complete freedom of whatever you want to do, which you cannot do with an OEM. So it's basically just like I would say it is like a gaming, how people upgrade their gaming PCs. When you want more and more and more and more, you more bigger graphic cards, better output. Similarly is with ECM. ECM is the one which is controlling everything of the vehicle. So a stage 1 tune adds a little bit of more power by reducing its safety parameters or parameters which are generally have kept by the protocols which are generally kept. Stage 2 is a bit more on the fuel map, on the turbo boost maps, everything related to that. Stage 3 is when you add internal components. Like let's just say I've upgraded a turbo. Now I need to communicate and tell them that listen, it's not a small turbo which you're running, it's a bigger turbo which you're running. That's where you go stage 3 a bit more. But that again depends upon if you can communicate that much with the ECM as well. So it's basically just, I would say, altering couple of files to make power.
Alright, so if I were to go take my car tuning, I wanted to tune my car. There's so many brands out there doing it. How's the approach like? Do I go to a certain brand for my certain car, or how's it like?
I personally would say that there are a lot of brands which are doing really good work in our country. I really don't have a specific best one, but I think all are great. I haven't seen anything absurd happening. Like for example, people who say that who have tunes and who are providing tunes, no stress at all. People who are saying that they have tunes and they can build performance race engines, that's where it's a bit, a gray area, I would say. So anytime you want to get your vehicle tuned like a stage 1 for your Skoda, there are a lot of companies which are there, and all of them are good. I wouldn't have any problems with any of them. I mean, Code 6 is brilliant, eTuners is good. All the particular brand which are there. I think on South there's one called Harmonix Tuning as well. Very good. They provide informational videos as well on how power is made. Really, really good. So definitely yes. I mean, any person who knows what he is doing, it's good to go. Any person who wants to make money off it, that's something which you have to realize.
Alright. So multiple tuning companies, people doing different things, and tuning companies making different maps, but all are good as long as you just want to tune your car and drive it reliably. But the day you want to race, you should probably find the right guy.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be like a serious application, like let's just say you're going to go for an ITC or rally or something like that, then you require a proper set. But if you're going to do street stuff, I don't think anything is required, provided you don't tell them to put pops and bangs kind of a vibe to it, because that stuff like that is not going to.
Then that just damages the engine.
I wouldn't say it directly damages the engine, but yes, there are a lot of factors, there are a lot of things which get affected because of that. It is a damage overall, but yeah.
Awesome. We've learned a bit about tuning today. How about drifting? What's drifting, bro?
So,
all I know, the car slides, it burns some rubber, it looks good, it's fun and all.
So, drifting, anyone who's a JDM fan, who's a true JDM fan, who knows about Keiichi Tsuchiya and all of these guys, and Tauge back in the day.
I would say a lot of people don't know.
Exactly. So, the whole drifting culture is you can say is born from Japan. And one of the leading personalities to lead this, or who's made the Drift Bible, his name is Mr. Keiichi Tsuchiya. So you can say that he basically invented drifting. Yeah. And even though he invented, it was the way it got adopted in the Japanese culture was superb. Like from a lot of the way they started doing it on the streets, the way they started doing it on tight mountain roads. You must be knowing that initial D, everyone knows initial D. So that kind of propelled it into another ball game altogether, where the Western countries started adopting it, and it started becoming big, till a level that now, everywhere you see, if you open Instagram, you'll see these cars going sideways with a lot of smoke coming. And we didn't want to fall behind on that. So we decided that is the easiest way to go over it, because like I told you in our previous conversation, we focus more on reliability. what better way to showcase the reliability of a vehicle than to go absolute ham on it all the time. Like you're pushing it to the absolute limit, high revs, temps high, tires burning, every component is under load. So that's where we decided to build our first drift vehicle. This first drift vehicle is built by students from D&O and United Motorsports Academy. There's a team of 5 to 6 engineers who have built this entire car from designing to getting the parts manufactured to where the engine is going to sit, alignment, every single thing. This basically is a 70 to 80% race car, is what we say, but you can still street it as of now. It's running a LS3. It's running a T56 gearbox. It's running a
What's an LS3?
LS3 is a basically GM Motors 6.3 liter V8 engine, and this is all mated to a proper Ford 8.8 race differential. And with this best set of components, we essentially have gotten them together with the knowledge of how to build a race car, proper race car from the academy. Where the engine sits quite inside. So even with a heavier engine, which is a 6.3 liter, the car still has a exact weight distribution, what we need. The balance is absolutely the same. And the whole point of doing this was to focus on vehicle dynamics. Vehicle dynamics is basically the science behind how a car handles, how a car feels. Like when you sit in a car, when you drive it, the confidence a car imparts. Like in some cars you can go fast, some cars you can't go fast. That's directly proportional to vehicle dynamics. So we focus a lot on that because that is something which you visually can't see. That is something which requires knowledge, a lot of data, a lot of, I would say, a lot of tuning of that particular bit, even like suspension geometries. So it's quite a good form. So the 6 boys have completely built this car. It's got rear spec radiators. So the radiators of this car are at the back. Yeah. The major reason of doing it is because this, in any race car, all the way from 80s to 90s, you always separate hot and cold components. You run engine nice and cold in its optimum temperature, it's going to make power. You run hotter, it's going to lose power. Very simple. So by keeping it at the back, what we essentially do is, engine anyway gets hot. When the engine gets hot, the radiant heat is going to get the radiator hot. So you essentially reduce the efficiency of the radiator. By putting it at the back, there is no radiant heat. So the radiator now only function is to be in a compartment which is not very hot, but get the right set of feed, and whatever heat that engine is creating, extracted out. As simple as that. And because we put the radiator at the back, the lot of longer tubes, radiator tubes and hoses will run. You essentially increase the volume of the liquid as well. So let's just say if you're cooling 12 liters before, now you're cooling 18 to 20 liters. So it's going to take a longer time for the car to get heated up. So you can essentially do a longer drift, longer time, longer basic things. So there are a lot of basic things which we have done in geometry and everything, which we'll discuss. We'll do an in-depth, detailed video on this particular build as well. And we'll see you at Valley Run for this particular bit, and you can see yourself how it performs.
Sure do, we sure do. And for people who are not too aware on the LS3, it's basically the car from Chevrolet, the Corvette, the Camaro and the Corvette. It's a big block engine. It's a V8, big fat V8, and 6.3 liter as in 6,300 cc's, which is a big engine. So a big engine in a very light car, and properly planned aerodynamics, properly done up, a lot of custom-made components. I know the chassis was made. The chassis was made right from the chassis, the roll cage.
Yes, every single thing, like the chassis stiffening, the roll cage, the rear suspension arms, rear subframe, on the mounts, everything is all made by the boss.
I also see a NOS.
Yes, that's something which is under development, which we had tried only once, but too powerful. So it's not yet used, but we'll be using it when we probably might do a straight fast one or something like that.
You know, it's amazing how you've made so many one-of-one cars, and one of these cars has to be the BMW M2 that you've taken at the BIC. Why don't you go a bit into that?
That was a very good project. Moreover, that I think the major success of this project was because we had a phenomenal race car driver. Like he's one of the best, I would say, race car drivers, amateur race car drivers in our country. So essentially, we had this project of where we had to make the MT was getting used on the track. The initial timing it was doing was 2 minutes 17 seconds on the track. We started working with the owner very slowly, step by step. Like first we did is made titanium exhaust, reduced weight, little bit of it. The car's timing dropped to 2:15. Then we told him that these are the parts what it requires, the kinematics, the dynamics work we did. Then the car dropped down to 2:11. Then we started doing a lot of aero work, aero analysis, proper dynamics work as to load transferring, tire contact patch traces, all a little bit of a more serious kind of vehicle dynamic stuff. And then from 2:11 we got the car to 2:08, then 2:06, and then the fastest the car was able to achieve was a 2:05. And that again was only through dynamics. The car still ran on a stage 1 tune, stuck downpipes, no power bonds.
By the way, I always say this: a second is a lifetime in motorsports. Every second matters, and you got it down how many seconds?
Around like 15 grip.
15 lifetimes. So, do you want to go more into other projects that you've done over the years? Your favorite builds, your favorite projects.
I would say that they are all under process, and you should capture them one at a time, because there's a lot which goes into all of these builds in terms of components, in terms of the thought what it goes, and the boys who built these, the story behind it. I think that is something which I think you should definitely capture, and we could do like a proper series on it, and so that even the new audience, they can understand that how we build it, like what is the thought process, how we want to go about it. It's not just you get car, you plonk an engine and you finish it. It's more sort of the passion behind it, the story behind it. How it's high time that from India we need to prove that we have this technical talent towards the world. We have already been establishing ourselves in all the other industry. I think motorsport is something which we have to do it now.
Well, that was amazing. I mean, there's a lot more to come now that you've said it. And, last but not the least, what is Project Mingo?
So yes, Project Bingo is the project we did with government of Maharashtra for prototyping of airboat. And airboat basically is an amphibious boat which works on land and water both. It's something what you have seen in which they use a lot in disaster management, flood, mangroves, safety department, everything in terms of that. So again, this project was conducted by 7 engineers, young engineers, who built the entire boat. We built it in-house. It was a brilliant project in terms of how, with a positive mindset and the right engineering practice, you can practically achieve proper results. You can have proper systems in place. That boat is powered again by a V8 engine, but the difference in that is it runs on flex fuel, so it runs on ethanol and petrol. Because power was not really the main goal in that, but efficiency and it was for government application. So it's in a process. Hopefully one day that it will get deployed, and let's see how it goes.
Awesome. All right. So the man started because he wanted to beat a pulsar, and now we are at making boats. We are doing race cars. We are doing drift cars. Omkar has been someone who's really brought the Indian car community a real platform to come educate themselves onto what really motorsports is, what tuning is, and he's been doing it with real engineers, kids my age, and it's just amazing that it's all happening in India, never done before. So, all right, this was one session with Omkar. We're gonna have a lot more of these now, and we're gonna show you around the garage. We're gonna show you builds. We're gonna show you series. about a car, and that's it for today, right? Any closing thoughts? Any closing thoughts, Payne?
Yeah, if you are an engineer who wishes to do one of these things, what we are doing, and make this a formal career, check out at United Motorsports Academy, or you can visit us at Valley Run, and we'll be more than happy to help. We have a lot of programs coming up. Like in May, June, we have a program, a proper hands-on program coming up where we are. It's a batch for 30 engineers in our workshop, where we'll be. It's a paid course which will be training over 2 weeks, where we teach them the entire usage of 3D scanning, how to 3D print. Basically, how if there is a design in your mind, how to get it into reality and build it. That's something what we teach. So that's coming up. And yeah, looking forward to connecting with more individuals like you and other people from this industry.
Awesome, Omkar. It was lovely having you, and we look forward to a lot more.
Yeah.